Why is that confusing?
So, of all the men you encounter, what % of them would you consider date worthy? I'm not saying like a lot of y'all will go on a date just for the fuck of it. Like you're not sure yet if you're actually going to be interested in the guy. I'm saying when I say date, I mean this is a guy who you would want to be in a relationship with, who you are like you're attracted to the guy. What percentage of men are you attracted to and would want to be in a relationship with?
Low. Like out of just
like 4%. Have you been on a dating app? How many of the guys do you swipe yes on a dating app for?
In life, I've never had a dating app. So bad.
Okay,
that's basically all you're doing is looking at.
But let's start it on dating apps. So for you, and I can open up to the rest of the panel.
Yeah.
Who here's been on a dating app? Just show of hands. Yes. Never been on dating app?
I don't need one.
Okay. When you're swiping, what percentage of men are you swiping yes for? 10%?
Yeah, it's pretty low.
Like if you had 5%, 10%? We should do it. We should bust out Bumble right now.
That's a good
But what, 5%, 10%?
Yeah, 5 to 10.
Okay, what about you?
I don't really know. I don't really always check like the new people. I only see like the ones that like my account. So I don't know. Like,
part of that selection is just so low. Like I can tell by looking at your profile that you just want to date around. Not just women want to date around, but men also just want to date around. So I can tell. And I would like to think that I can tell when a man is just looking for a hookup, Yeah,
and I also, sorry.
And also in the conversations that we have, I get a clearer understanding, this man just wants to hook up, and this man just wants to actually, want to get to know me. So it's
what
not.
Percent,
sorry, go ahead.
What percent? Sorry to interrupt. What percent of men do you think who are on Tinder and these kind of swipe machines want to just hook up?
At least
in contrast
50%.
Like literally, probably all of them.
The mother of their children. High percent, right?
Right.
It's really high, right? Which what makes our pool small. So it makes sense that we swipe right. Right?
Well, so I would say
on the 5 to 10%. It's okay.
But you're participating in something that's counterintuitive to your own standards.
How do you mean?
You don't want to. You ultimately want to find someone who, what do they call them, a fuck boy or something like that? I'm too old for this shit. You're trying to find someone serious. Ultimately, that's respectable, that is stable, has a good job, potentially father material, husband material. Ultimately, I mean, let's just face it. I will say that dating apps isn't the best.
Yeah.
Isn't the best way to look for a high value or an ideal man.
I would say it's one of the worst.
Yeah.
Probably the worst.
Yeah.
Meeting organically is always better.
And how many of you single are still on those apps? Raise your hand.
I'm only on it this is gonna sound so bad, but just when I'm bored, I'll just swipe on it. I don't think I'd ever want to go on a date with anyone from a dating app. That's a terrible thing to say, but it's true.
So why are you even on it?
I don't know. It's kind of fun.
You get validation because all the guys are giving you attention.
Yep, that's exactly why.
I mean, that's probably it.
No, that is.
If you admit that it's counterintuitive and you're not going to find the man that you actually value on there, where are these men, do you think?
Oh, they're at work. Yeah, they're at work. They're working.
They're put up holding value, just like the females
that they value.
At home?
I'm kidding.
It's hard to find someone that's high value because they're always traveling, they're always at work, and especially if they're family oriented, then they're spending time with family. If the girl or the female, she's high value, she too is spending time with her family. She too is focusing on her career.
Wait, what makes a high value woman?
I think someone who has high principles and morals, values. To me, that's what it is. I am. I wouldn't say I'm religious, but I would say that I do have a relationship with God, and I think just learning about Him has taught me so much.
Sorry, who's Him?
God.
Oh,
Jesus.
okay.
Just learning about Him and just really reading the Bible and understanding the tremendous love that He has for all of His children has really put things into perspective.
Yeah. Do you think Bodycount would depict who is a high caliber woman and who isn't?
I do.
I think.
I do.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
If high body count has to do with high value.
Gosh, you know,
it does matter.
I think it does matter, but at the same time, I also do think that God came to this world to renew and restore, and you know, His grace and mercy is big and bountiful. And even though you may have a history of like a high body count, if you come to Him,
right, in God's eyes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think they're talking about your husband, right?
Okay.
Keep going.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
in God's eyes, yes, of course you can be redeemed, and then it's something you have to.
Right.
When you ask for forgiveness and redemption,
it changes you.
It does, and then
completely changes you.
It really does, and you have to be in it, though. You know, you don't just keep going back.
No, it's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
it's a lifestyle. It's a dedication. It's a relationship that you nurture every single day.
And when it comes to a man, you know, I've never met a high value man that wants a woman that's ran through, I guess, would be the
yeah. No, it does matter.
Low mileage is
I don't
best
know,
for
'cause
both.
I've met a lot of high value men that want the hose. I've met a lot of high value men that want the hose. I don't know.
I would also argue that past behavior is kind of a good indicator of future behavior. Like if it's, I understand for some people they like have made a mistake once or twice, but in order to have a high body count, you have to have made that mistake like a dozen times for it to be high. So I don't think that when you're saying high body count, it's like somebody who made a mistake once or twice. You're getting to these high numbers.
That's true.
So this is an indicator of like a repeated thing that you consistently do.
Some people have to like really have to repeat their mistakes over and over and over again. And
would they not repeat them during marriage?
I don't know.
Do you think they're more likely? Do you think women are more likely to repeat those mistakes if they're told every day from every angle of society that that's empowering to be promiscuous?
I think that's what's wrong with society. Like really trying to, I don't know.
Promote sex.
Yeah, promote sex. That's, to me, that's really damaging, not only for women, but for men, because though women may be putting that content out there, you know, the customers are the men. You know, like it's not one without the other. They're both equally responsible for nurturing and building this type of society. Now we've been insensitized to it, and we see it as normal. And
so would you be willing to shame people that you knew for?
I would never shame anyone. No, that's not my position.
It's not shame.
That's not my position to shame anyone. That's your. First of all, like the shaming does not come from God. He doesn't do that.
Righteous.
Right. Condemnation does not come from God.
He comes to make you righteous, exactly. But
righteous judgment.
Righteous judgment, not shame. Right? There's difference.
Shame comes from sin.
If you correct your child, right, for something they did, and they feel shame, even if you corrected them and it ended in them feeling shame, you still correct them even if they feel shame.
I would say if you're correcting them, you are disciplining them, and it comes from a place of love and understanding. So if you're disciplining,
hold on a second. I asked a very specific question. If you come from love, right? If you are guiding and not commanding, if you correct and discipline, if it just so happens that your child or whoever you're disciplining feels shame, it doesn't negate the correction, right?
I think the shame came from the action, not the discipline.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
So you're not going to answer, or I didn't ask where it came from. I said, do you still correct people's behavior? Even if it ends in an outcome where they feel shame.
I can't control how they will feel. So if they feel shame, I know. Oh, let me finish. If I correct them and they feel shame, that's them. Like, I can't control how you feel after you've been corrected. But I will.
Great. So I'll reframe the question.
Okay.
Do you think it's a good idea to correct women who are following suit with a high promiscuity count?
How would you correct a woman?
Tell them that they're doing something damaging to themselves.
I think they already know that.
And no, you can't just think they already know that, because what are we in a society that most women think it's empowering because of feminism?
Exactly.
You can lead by power. What about leading by example? I, for example, don't do OnlyFans or anything like that. And I've been peer pressured many times in the industry to do certain things like sex work, but it's not something that I would like to do, want to do, or morally align with. So,
I agree with you.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes from. You know, you're able to.
But I'm saying that I'm not asking what you guys think you could do or not do, or what you think is right or wrong. I'm saying that we, as humans in society, men and women, have an obligation to correct other people in our society. But the thing is, everyone's so afraid to correct people that degeneracy ends up being some sort of like virtuous, heroic thing, and everyone's championing it. Now we're in basically a disaster culturally. Societally, we're in a disaster. Not only are women thinking that promiscuity, now they're even to men. They can have sex.
They're making so much money doing it because of the men who want to contribute to it.
Hold on a second. If the men want that and they can't get it, for instance, if AI takes over all of the OnlyFans accounts, right, in the next 2 years, totally fake women, right? If those men still do that, that's an act against them, right? But what will women do, right, to compete with that? For those of you selling your bodies online, right, what are you going to do when that kind of takes the place? Because what I'm saying, and many people like me are saying, you women have been sold a lie. But the partial truth to the lie is that the leverage you have is your sex, is your virtue, your virginity, and your ability to be mothers for families. And what happened is feminism told you, pussy power. Your power is the pussy, and that's true. Actually, it's true. It's just that they've inverted it and told
twisted
you,
it.
go use it. That's your power. Well, no, it's disempowering. You've been lied to. You think it's freedom. It's not. You're literally destroying not only your connections to people, but you're destroying your value economically out on the field. It's completely destroyed.
I understand and agree with that. I think for the purpose of like when you originally raised the question about like righteous judgment and whose right it is to judge, like just because like I personally don't partake in those activities either, but I also don't judge other women just because I have my own opinions about like what I want to do for my body and like what I would want for my future daughters, but that doesn't mean that I'm necessarily looking down on other women for it. And I also feel like it's kind of like skill-based matchmaking in terms of men. It's like if you're a man and you don't want to be with a woman who's done OnlyFans or has done certain things, then you as a man can just choose to not date women who do that. I don't think that it needs to be a matter of like shame or like I don't need to police other women's bodies.
No, this is absurd. If you're going to have a future where you're going to be a mother, God willing, and I hope you will, I think you'll make a great mother just based on what you've said tonight, is that as soon as your daughters turn 18, and let's say their friends tell them selling your body on OnlyFans is empowering, and they start believing their friends, are you not going to come in and judge the action? We're not talking about judging the heart. We're talking about judging the action and coming in as a mother and saying, no, that's not empowering. That woman's wrong. That's the wrong thing to do. Is that a judgment?
I think that we're kind of not talking about individuals versus generalities. I would police my daughter about that because that is my individual. I'm talking about on a larger societal scale of me policing women as a whole is what I'm saying that I don't want to do. I would discipline my child and my daughter if that's what she decided to do. I would not be in favor of that behavior as a mother. But I can't enforce my values onto other individual women.
You can state them, but you can't enforce them.
Yeah, I can tell them. I can just make the statement that that's not what I want to do. That's not what I wish for other women, and that's not what I wish for my
an I statement versus
children.
A you statement.
But I'm not going to be like, hey, you don't make an OnlyFans. That's not my business.
Let's do it. Let's say you have a best friend and you both have kids at the same time, and they both end up being girls, right? And at 18, they're still friends. The one friend, your friend's daughter, gets into this, starts influencing your daughter. You end up talking to the mother. Do you tell, if you have the chance, do you try to correct out of love, correct that mother and say, I think they're doing the wrong thing. I think you should correct this?
Yes, I would, but that's on an individual level rather than a societal level.
What is a society made of?
I understand that you're going to a society is made out of like a larger scale, and I understand that. I'm just saying that like for me, I would tell the mother and like at that point, I would imagine that I would view this girl as like my niece and my familiar person that I need to like make sure that she doesn't go down the wrong path. But I don't think that yes, and I feel like the average woman doesn't need to hear my condemnation for her OnlyFans. She already knows.
Hold on. If it's good at the micro level of the family and the extended family, which is your community and people you look at even if they're not blood related, You look at as your cousins and your friends and your aunts and all these things. If that's true at that level and you think that's good, how could you say it's not something that you ought to do each phase out? You know what I mean? Like you zoom out the collective, the city now, the state now, the country. How could it possibly be a bad thing to step in as women? Because this is what's missing. Men are starting to understand this. Hold on a second. Men are starting to understand women are misled, and men have been following each other. Misled men, misled women. Men are starting to correct now because why? Because they're realizing that they want a high-value woman, and that's a mother and a wife. And women, some of you are actually finding out a high-value man is actually the father and the protector and the provider of the house, right? And so if this is happening, I'm not sure what you could possibly say would be good about just removing yourself from the participation of pointing and saying, maybe that's not good for you.
I'm just gonna say, like how you're saying how it's different for her to say it to like aunts and nieces and whatever. Those are people that value that opinion. She could say that to someone that she doesn't know, and they're gonna be like, okay, well, fuck you, because you don't agree with me.
I can make that point because
What are you talking about?
I can make that point because I'm the only one on here, right, that does. Well, you do OnlyFans too, right? We both do that. But I mean, like, respectfully, whatever she says wouldn't matter to me.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not to me that.
And that was the point that I was making as well. That, like, I'm not going to tell you not to have your OnlyFans.
Right, it's just
but I
rude.
would personally do that for myself.
Okay, so it doesn't matter to you right now. Therefore, anyone you say that to, it won't impact. Are you kidding me?
I just feel like it's just carrying that burden of you feeling like you have to tell every girl you meet not to do OnlyFans or not to do sex work or not to do this with their body would be just a waste of your time. Honestly, you can do other stuff better.
Jim Bob, final thought on this?
I'm just saying, I'm not saying you go out with this.
No, I know what you're trying to say. I know what you're trying to say. I just feel like.
I agree with you. I think I'll give you a point here is that you do want some relatedness to be able to say these things. I agree with that. But the hypothetical I'm pointing to isn't walking up to strangers and doing this. I'm saying that if you have the opportunity to promote this, or let's say the opposite of promoting OnlyFans and promiscuity and all this, feminism basically on net balance is trash. Like, will you call it out if you could? And I think the answer is yes. I'm not saying, I'm asking what could possibly be bad about fighting against lies.
I understand.
That are told to young women.
I understand what you're saying, and I actually do that on my platform. Is I talk about how like you don't have to like show your body to be empowered, and I don't personally do any of like explicit or adult content or anything like that. And I do say that on my platform because I know that a bunch of little girls watch my content. A lot of young women watch my jiu-jitsu content, and I want to be a good example, but I don't make my entire platform about like crusading against OnlyFans. I just lead by example about like saying that that's not what I want to do. And people often ask me like, where's the link? And I'm like, that's not something that I ever want to do. And I make sure to lead from the front by just not having one and saying that in my comment sections, like I've never done adult content and I never intend on doing adult content, and I don't believe that that's a good example, but I'm not banging down the doors of OnlyFans women.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
What if someone approached you, and I'll let Brian you move on after this.
Sure.
I see you want to go on to the next thing. What if someone DMs you and says, I'm doing this, should I do it?
I'd say no. I'd say please do everything else that you could possibly do first.
Good.
Absolutely.
Again, that's someone that would value her opinion.
Yeah, and how do you develop valuing someone's opinion, right?
By leading by example, too.
By leading by example.
Yep, that's the biggest thing here.
So yeah, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying with your example, it would only matter if someone values your opinion.
With positive female expression or whatever you want to call it. She said
You can counter it just by not having one.
I'm just saying that, like, for women to actually promote wholesomeness, true femininity, right? Motherhood. We're oversaturated in the opposite. And I don't know if you women understand this, that the ratio
Obviously.
of the shit you see that is about liberation of women versus the images you see of powerful mothers, right, mothering their children is just so disparate right now. And that's what I'm saying is that we need more of women demonstrating and showing motherhood. But how do you do that without advocating to women to do that? We can't just expect them to just in other words, they need to be pulled out of their feminist paradigm. It needs to be completely demolished. Okay, that's my position.
Like you said, society is built by people, by individuals. So I think that the biggest difference you can make is you being the difference. If you're the difference, you're already working towards,
I agree with you.
towards that.
Yeah.
All right. Someone's sent in. Oh no, he bought something on shop.whatever.com. Looks like he bought a hoodie. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. Zazzer. I don't know how to say your name. You don't understand the difference in men and women. You're going clubbing and marketing yourself would compare to your boyfriend going out and talking to other women but not having sex with them. You want to respond to that one really quick?
Are they saying there's something wrong with my boyfriend, like going and talking to other girls? I'm confused. Well, like if he's not
Like flirting, I guess.
Well, I'm not flirting with other guys, so that's
not why she's going out.
it
She's not
doesn't
going
apply
out to
me.
market herself.
Well, I mean, there's a difference between how men and women operate. So, for example, women aren't like, for example, a guy goes to a bar or club, he might approach 10 different women that night and shoot his shot with 10 different women. Women don't go out to bars and clubs and shoot their shot. If they are interested in meeting a guy, they'll just go to the bar and club, and they'll typically just put themselves in a position to be approached. Now, I'm not, again, speaking in generalities here. Do some women approach guys? Sure. It's super rare. Most women don't do it. Most women don't have to do it because men just do it de facto. But because of this differential, so once you get into a relationship, we all agree here that neither the man or the woman should be like approaching or sliding into a DM. We both agree that would be wrong for the woman to do, wrong for the man to do. But this is the paradigm in which men flirt. Is they take the initiative, they approach, they send the DM, whatever it is. But we don't really clamp down on women's means of getting men once they're in a relationship. And so the way women sort of market themselves or advertise themselves is to go out to bars and clubs, put yourself in a position to be approached. And then additionally, for example, if you're posting thirst traps on Instagram, a woman's not going to slide into a dude's DMs, but she's going to be posting thirst traps and then soliciting essentially men to DM her.
Personally, I don't go to the bars or the clubs to meet anyone because I've always been told by my grandpa and my father that those are horrible places to meet men. The men you meet there are not going to be high value men typically. And
speaking in generalities, you just to be clear, just for the sake of this conversation, because otherwise we're going to get in this trap of always going to you with your exception to the rule thing. I'm specifically addressing her point about she wants to go to the club. I get that there's
clearly
women.
Stated she's not marketing herself though.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Okay, you don't understand. If you're a woman and you go to the bar or club,
you're just worried about her being approached. And it's
if you're a woman and you go to the bar or club, you are putting yourself in a position to be approached.
I guess I view the world differently because I go to the store, I go anywhere, and I'm constantly approached. So,
the solipsism is crazy. It's always me. Like with you're not seeing the bigger picture here of other people's experiences. She can put herself in the same
shoes. It's the same thing. It's literally most girls.
I guess.
Yeah, I agree. But the difference is, like, I don't think it's. First of all, I think the likelihood of a girl being approached, like, so just to be clear, every single time you guys go out to Trader Joe's, every time you get approached 3 times?
Honestly, yes, absolutely. I was just out.
You guys,
I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding.
I could post up.
I'm not kidding.
You guys aren't bad.
Yeah, I could
That's
post
crazy.
up. I could post up at a Trader Joe's. I could post up at a Trader Joe's, and maybe I might see some people saying something here or there, but most people, they go, whether you're a man or woman, you go, you do your shopping.
Have you been a woman in Los Angeles at all?
I have eyeballs and I can see what's happening.
Have you been a woman in Los Angeles? Have you been in a big city? I mean, even in small cities, I get approached constantly. So I would think many women get approached constantly as well. It's not just me.
So to be clear, you're prepared to make the statement. Every single time you go out to do grocery shopping, 3 guys in that grocery store approach you? Really?
I wouldn't say every single time, but not even just in the grocery store, on the way, I can be in my car, and it's the most annoying thing in the whole world because in the car, men will stare at women, literally.
Oh, wow. Okay, great shifting the goalpost there. So it went from.
Well, you want me to not be me, so I'm literally just,
What?
it can't be about me, right? So, I don't know, I've been stalked in my own car.
You literally made it about you, about how you get stared at when, I'm sorry, being stared at. Maybe they just look in your direction.
The hollering, it starts with the staring, and then they start, if you even, God forbid, look their way, they'll start to instigate something and want something from you.
I'll make it super simple. Nobody's disputing that women get approached at the grocery store. That's not in dispute. However, if I were to compare, if you were a betting woman and you had to bet your life savings on what's a greater likelihood, is a woman more likely to go get finger banged at Trader Joe's or on the patio of some fucking nightclub? Because trust me, I've seen women getting finger banged.
You just said the word finger banged.
That's the fucking word I'm using. These chicks be getting fucking finger banged at the club and shit.
Yeah.
They're going to parties. They're fucking dudes like in the bathroom at the fucking club.
That's real.
It
Girls are
happens.
doing that.
Wait, see?
No, just because girls are doing it doesn't mean I'm doing it. What the hell?
I know. But it's the environment. It's the environment.
I know, but I guess it's all about intention too. I guess when I said I'm going out, you guys think that I'm like going to the club. Like I'm barely 18. Like there's like one.
She's like going to
college parties, right? College parties are worse.
Well,
college
I'm also
parties
at a community,
are almost
or I'm at a
worse
community
than
college. I'm at a community college.
Wait, I
so
can see that college would be worse.
College parties are worse than
They
the
are.
club.
Well, so
They are.
I am at a community college, so I will say like people at community colleges like are not as eager to make friends, so there's not as many parties. So, but I will say like when I say going out, I guess I could mean like my two best friends had a birthday the other day, and it was just our closest friends there, and that's going out. I wasn't looking for anyone. I was with my friends out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like a dinner with your girlfriends, I don't think that's a big deal. But
that's not what I was talking about. It wasn't a dinner. It was not a dinner.
Where did you, okay, were your friends drinking?
Yeah, my friends were drinking.
Okay, was it a party?
Yeah, it was their birthday party.
Hold on, just to be clear. When you say birthday party, so
right.
Did you go out to a restaurant?
No. It was at my friend's house. They're twins, that's why I'm saying there.
But so, were they throwing a party?
Yeah, it was a party, but it wasn't like a ton of people I didn't know. It was like all my friends.
How many people were there?
I want to say there was like 40 because it was like they have an older sister and her friends were there.
That's a party.
Right. No, I get that, but I'm not going there looking for anyone. I'm just having a good time with my friends.
Wait, I have a question for you. So the only thing you've ever done with the guy is kiss them?
Yeah.
Like make out?
Yeah.
Like with tongue? Yeah.
Yo, Bales, thank you for the gifted memberships. All right. IRL Bales, thank you for the gifted 20. We have a TTS coming through them. I'm going to let the rest of the chats come through. One sec, guys. Thank you, man.
Glocktavius,
what the hell?
Ooh.
Wow.
Someone rap on the beat.
Beatboxing.
Wow, thank you.
That was really worth the money.
He got $100.
I know.
I like it.
You paid $100.
How many hours did he work?
That's really good. All right. We have a bunch of chats coming in. We have Lucas. One sec.
Oh, not Lucas again. Not Lucas again.
Some more money, Lucas.
Oh, he's back. Again, why the hell would a high caliber affluent man financial entangle and jeopardize half his wealth to marry you if you're not willing to have kids? What do you offer that a friends with benefits doesn't? And he goes on to continue just a moment before I have you give your response. He says, if anything, given that you're both depreciating assets, a friends with benefits can be swapped out for a younger and newer model once fully amortized and depreciated. Okay, some financial terms there. Thank you, Lucas.
Lucas is bored.
Dang, Lucas spent $500 tonight.
So nasty.
Quick response to Lucas, if you'd like.
Lucas, are you going to trade out your wife for a younger woman when she gets too old for you?
Right, Leonardo DiCaprio style.
Dude, he's dating someone that's like an 06. Isn't that crazy?
No one over 25.
What do you mean?
Leonardo. Oh no, they just said Leonardo DiCaprio.
Why is that crazy?
Oh, he's dating someone that's like no, he's dating someone that's in 06, and like I'm in 06, and like he could totally be my dad. Like that's just crazy to me.
like-
Wait, why is that crazy?
Because that's so creepy. That is.
Why is
That's
it
like how.
creepy?
What's her
It's
name?
weird to
Bonnie
be
Blue is like, oh,
interchangeable
I
like
want
that.
like barely legals. That's so creepy.
Yeah,
that's like borderline.
I mean, Bonnie Blue's a little different because she's like doing
it's like
sex
shock
work.
value.
I mean, that's a bit
no, but
different,
I just think that like old people going after young people
I think
is kind
high
of
value
creepy.
men are
Why-
also
why is it
not
creepy?
ran through.
Isn't her fertility higher?
DiCaprio's
Was she
definitely
supposed to
ran
go?
Absolutely.
Leonardo's supposed to go for an old bag that's has a how many sex partners? When
I don't know.
she's
I feel like if he was of value,
settled down
he'd
when
have
she's
kids right now.
35 or
I
something?
wouldn't want to be with him.
No, I'm just saying. You're just saying creepy doesn't really do anything. Because
Well, I think that if you're high value, you would probably have kids by the time you're 52.
Hold on a second. High value for a woman is fertility.
That's
not
the only value of
necessarily
women.
true,
Is
yeah.
that what I'm clarifying?
High value would include fertility, and for men to look at women, the ones who are fertile will be younger, and you're just saying it's creepy, and yet at the same
But what makes
That's
Leonardo
perspective
high
based.
value?
What's that?
Makes Leonardo.
What? Because he has money? Like, is that his only value? Like, I'm so confused.
I don't know.
He's pretty talented.
Whose value?
I mean, yeah, he's talented, but I mean, I wouldn't mess there.
I also agree that you shouldn't be ran through as a man. You should want, if you're looking to settle down, that's what you're also looking to do. He's not looking to settle down. He's made that clear. He's just going through.
I agree with that.
I think he's actually correct, but we're not talking about whether or not he wants to settle down. We're talking about what is it that men are coded, basically programmed to look at for the first and foremost thing that we're looking at from a female. It's to procreate with them, and to procreate with them, they need to be fertile. So younger women, 20, whatever, you finding it creepy that a 50-year-old is pursuing a 20-year-old, well, let's change the situation. Let's say Leonardo DiCaprio had an epiphany. He said, oh my God, I've wasted my whole life. I need to be a father. I want to be a father. I'm moved to be a father. And he meets a young woman who's willing to be a mother. Is it still creepy?
If he wants to have children, I don't think that he would necessarily want to have children with an 18-year-old.
If he
Probably be looking for someone a little bit older.
Answer hypotheticals. I said if it's the case.
I did answer your hypothetical.
Leonardo DiCaprio. I didn't ask what you think Leonardo DiCaprio is thinking. I'm saying.
And then he might not find a high-value woman.
Let him finish.
If he says, I want to be a father now. I've wasted all my years. I've made whores of all of these women. I want a family. And he meets a woman who's 20, and she wants to be a mother. Is it still creepy if that's the context?
No. I was saying it was creepy that he was dating an 18-year-old and he does not want to settle down. That's what I was saying. You're making a hypothetical and like making me answer a completely different question.
Interesting.
Not what I was saying.
That's totally fine. But here's the thing. If it's only creepy because of the intentions, how is it not creepy for people to just bang each other with no intention to settle down?
Why are you asking me that? I never said that wasn't creepy.
That's your standard. No, I know, but but that's your standard. Don't you have? I mean, you lead a little bit liberal, don't you? Insofar as women.
When did she say that?
No.
When did she say that?
I could be wrong. That's fine.
She never once said I'm liberal or lean that way.
And all of the views she's expressed have been relatively conservative.
Yeah, they have. They actually really have.
Yeah, I would.
I mean,
I've seen reactions
relatively
from what I've said, and I was wondering if she
going out
values
doesn't make you
liberation above something else here.
Wait, what do you mean? Sorry, I'm confused.
Freedom. Do you value female liberation? Like, for instance, I'll ask you a harder hypothetical. Is it more valuable to you that women are fully liberated in their rights and expression than to be constrained by societal pressures to be mothers?
I guess it depends on what their end goal is. If someone wants to be a mother, that's probably liberating to them. I mean, I want to be a mom eventually. I don't want to be a mom now, but I think it'd be very liberating for me to eventually be a mom. But if someone, like she doesn't want to have kids, it's probably very liberating to not have kids and do stuff that makes her happy.
Right. So happiness, what the woman wants to make her happy above any sort of obligations for society.
Wouldn't you want to be happy? Wait, I'm confused.
Like in coding.
I don't care if she holds traditional positions or is partial to understanding traditional positions.
So happiness equals feminist is what you're saying?
If it's the case that you're a female and you value your own freedom and liberation to be happy, and you think first and foremost that women should be happy, right? Which is totally arbitrary, by the way.
I'd love to know why. Do you want your wife to be unhappy?
To make his woman
Is your wife happy? Do you want your wife to be happy?
Yeah, do you?
No, I'm asking you a question. Do you want your wife to be happy?
This is why women can't think rationally.
I think you should answer her question.
Why can't you answer my question?
You're still doing it. I heard 5 questions.
Do you want your wife to be happy? Do you want your wife to be happy?
My wife's happiness doesn't trump her obligation to be a mother.
Wow. I mean, she's a mother now. I mean, yeah, I understand what you're saying. She should be a mother, but that's an insane statement to say that you do not care about your wife's happiness.
You all went silent because you can't answer this question. If your obligations trump your wants and desires to be happy, you go all silent, right?
It depends on what your obligation is.
Yeah, why to society?
If you were a mother and you did something that didn't provide happiness to you, but it actually served the purpose of being a good mother to your children, would you still do it?
I think if you want to be a mother, taking care of your kids makes you happy.
So,
even
like,
if there's
waking up
hard
every day to
moments.
take your kids to school.
I mean, I'm sure that there's always hard moments in being a
You're
mother.
assuming, like, again, what about the people who don't want to be mothers and the people who have agreed that they also don't want kids? Like, a husband can also not want kids. You're only going off of that dynamic where it's like the man and the woman have to have children. It's so caveman.
It's caveman to want to have children. Do you know that we're running
It's caveman to like presume that it's the only thing in this world that needs to happen and that we're society.
There's just more,
like, there's
more
so
to
much
life
more to a
than
woman
just that.
than
Let me
children.
just reframe what this lady just said. You act like the main thing that needs to happen for society to exist is procreation. That's so caveman.
That's not what she said. She was just saying that life shouldn't
You need to
only
talk for
matter.
her? That's not very feminist of you. You need
What?
to talk for her.
I don't mind that.
I'm not talking
she's
for her, I
actually
just
not
heard
talking.
what
She's
she's
sticking up for another woman.
What's your name, Jim Bob? You're funny, bruh.
I would just also argue that you
Jimbo,
said that your wife's happiness does not supersede her obligations as a mother. She's chosen to be a mother, so she's then chosen to prioritize her family first and foremost. Some people have not chosen to be mothers and are still prioritizing that. And if you have not yet chosen to be a mother or never will, then it doesn't quite get in the same vein to prioritize being a mother if you never want to be a mother.
It's not. You're just mad that it's not agreeing with you. That's not irrelevant to what you're saying.
It's not irrelevant. Exactly.
All she said is some women don't want to be mothers, right? So they don't want to do that. That's her preference, right? I'm saying once you're a mother, isn't it the case that you're going to prioritize your obligation to be a mother over your temporary preferences and standard for happiness?
Yes, and that's why you should wait until you're ready to be a mother in order to become a
All you
mother.
have to say is yes, and that could be next topic.
Right. Clock that.